Good morning, people of YouTube. This is Dugan Ashley. Wanted to give you guys a Sitrep update, mini updates and sit reps of mini repetitions of the shit. That is our goal here. So I put the PO box in the last video description. I haven't updated my global settings where it's in every video yet. I will do that. But the PO box is so you put D, like D as in Delta A, so that's that's like the abbreviation for Dugan Ashley for all you retards out there. DA, PO box 173, Concordia, Missouri 64020. And whatever you send me, like if you put something in there that's highly perishable, in 24 hours or whatever, I guess it's going to be melted when I open up, because I'm going to pretty much like put your boxes in a blast pit under heavy UV exposure to kill off any bacterial agents you put on there. And then I'm gonna build a robot with a razor blade, and he's gonna crawl in the box and open up the boxes. And then if anybody sends me any Simtex or something like that, trying to whack me off, then I'm gonna do a controlled death in the pit. Okay, so you can try me, and we'll have fun, because I'm into that kind of shit anyway. You go ahead. Okay, so you try to listen here. You try to whack me off, okay? It's not gonna work. I'm into that kind of stuff, okay? Doesn't even bother me. Oh shit. Okay, so so I guess we're gonna do heavy streaming this weekend, because this is like a long weekend. I got music up. I'm working on Spank Your Booty, and it's going well. So I don't know how much longer. I probably have I'll probably finish that this weekend, and then move on to the next one, and then I'll figure out what I want to film for the music video, and then we'll get ready to release that. And then people are talking about pre-ordering CDs. That's fine if you want to do that, but if you send $10 in cash with like a note and you say, hey, pre-order for CD, send the fucking CD to this address, then I'll just take your envelope and stick it somewhere, and I'll hold on to it, in case something catastrophic happens or whatever, and I'll just send them back. But I don't know how. I can't, just because you send $10 and decided on your own to do a pre-order, then I can't tell you when it's gonna be, because I gotta make the motherfucker first, and that's not me. So I just want to be upfront about that. That's all. I don't want anybody. If you send me money for a pre-order, and then it's like a ploy, and then you like send me a bunch of emails and annoy me and shit, I'll probably just make a live stream video of me burning your envelope with the money in it, just so that you know. So if you're gonna try to fuck around with me, that's fine. We'll have fun. But for anybody that actually wanted one, I'm not gonna do that, obviously. But if you want to pre-order, you can do that, I guess, because some other guy's doing it. So if one guy's doing it, you might as well. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. I think we'll do a Pacone stream this weekend, because I wanted to talk to Pacone and get a video up on here and just talk about Pacone. He's from the same AO and Ramadi and Al Anbar from the Iraq War, and he was there like a year prior to me, and he's pretty sweet. He makes some pretty hardcore aesthetic music videos and stuff with just all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to get an interview. He did one where we talked about the stuff that I've been trying to use this YouTube channel, warn people about. That was good, because that was important. And I wanted to. It was such a long stream though that we didn't really get a chance to talk with each other. So I just wanted to talk with him, and I figured people would enjoy it, you know, because he's an interesting guy, and that'll be cool. So we'll do that. I'm gonna do a live stream on Sunday. I'll announce that tomorrow. I gotta get download some software and stuff and check it out and make sure it's all good and stuff for the or not. I'm sorry, it's not. I don't think it's a stream. I think it's a recording. It's probably audio. So I'm gonna set up the I think it's gonna use Skype. I don't have Skype. I gotta set up Skype, and then I'll announce that tomorrow. I don't know how long. I don't know if it's instant or if it's like, you know, it gets processed and stuff. But I'll let you guys know about that. Okay, here we go. Let's see what else. There's fucking. So I get like there's a lot of I'm sure that you guys know this, but there's a lot of trolls that come into the videos, right? And I'm sure you guys know that. Now they kind of range in everything from, you know, they're you can really tell because they pretty much like swing all over the topics, right? Like they don't really care what you talk about as long as it's not what I'm trying to talk about in the video. Like that's pretty much their own. You know, you can just use your imagination. You know, you can just add one almond to one almond, and then you'll get an idea of, you know, you have a pretty good idea of, you know, narrowed it down to who that is. But that's fine because I don't even care. You know, somebody's asking about Twitter. I'm kind of like Twitter's hitting me so hard on stunting it. You know, like stunting the discovery and shit for the Twitter account that I haven't been ultra active on there. I'll try to keep up with it. I just haven't checked it, but I'll look at it after this. I'll go in there and check it out. I apologize. I'm kind of, you know, if you don't know this, I'm basically like a guy at the end of his ropes, like in a car and in his garage. So like I'm making these like in my spare time, and I don't really have my shit together. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, you know, I mean, they call me crazy, and I don't know, they might not be that far off. You know what I mean? So the fucking the trolls are up in the streams. You know, there's, you know, I haven't. Now here's what's really interesting is that I don't know. I've made some mistakes, like you know, clerical shit, like saying like a name twice when I meant to say two people and saying like the same name. Like I've made like small mistakes and stuff like that in some of this historical stuff because we're just doing like hours and hours and hours of talking. It's like I'm bound to make mistakes. Out of all this shit that we've recorded, I haven't had anybody like come at me with you know, any kind of legitimate, you know, like refuting what I'm saying in a proper way, right? So that's I take that as a compliment. But we're gonna do a stream probably tomorrow. I'm not sure. Percone's stream, I gotta see when it's good for him. You know, like we're gonna work off his schedule. Whatever he wants to do, I'm gonna make time and make it happen. And I'm gonna do another stream. We're gonna pull, by we I mean Dugan, myself. I'm going to pull all the docs. I'm gonna pull all the docs, like the important docs for shit, like all the stuff on like Hoover is pretty important because it's like so historically, you know, it's so historically documented. Like all of, I mean, because Hoover's life is like so crazy, like his journey to become the president and then presidency. So I'm gonna pull all that shit and we're just gonna go through documents to back up a lot of this stuff and so that you guys can see everything and be aware of like where all this stuff comes from, so that then when somebody's like if you're ever referencing it or if you just want to read more about it, because there's way more, like Hoover's mining operations and shit are so fucking like that it spills over in the entire period of like the Korean invasion. It spills over into like all of the Chinese railroad incursions and stuff. Like all that stuff is in the like you can see it within like the historical document collection from Hoover, and and it really is it paints a picture like what you see it. So we'll do that. We'll do some other good stuff. The I get a lot of people that will comment. Like there's a guy that left a comment. Like, and I can't tell. Like I try not to make assumptions about, I try not to, like, I can't read into comments too much. But there was like a gentleman that commented about the Catholic Church, like, and he said it was something to the effect of like, Dugan, you got to look at the history of the Catholic Church here on this other stream. It explains everything about the Jews. And so, like, I don't know exactly where the guy, if somebody says that, I can't tell, I can't deduce exactly what the angle, of motivation is. But, it could either be a guy that wants to, that believes that's truth. It could be a guy that doesn't know anything about the history that we're discussing, and then they feel like, wow, you're like really talking about Jews a lot, like maybe that's not so great, like you should look over here, this will explain it. Or it's just it's just a total deflection, like a deflection in the wrong direction. But I think that in some of those, so there's like 3 cases there to address that, like three different directions of addressing it, and like it's fine. There's no problem with it. It's just that you have to understand. You have to understand that, like, how do I put this? This is like when you're watching these streams. If you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna break it down like this. There's basically two. There's basically 2 major groups of people that are watching these, and one of them is Jews and one of them is not Jews. And then out of the not Jews, there's like, many perspectives, and out of the Jews, there's also, there's several perspectives. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to do the streams objectively, like where, I mean, obviously, like I'm a very fucking flawed person, like, so, obviously my own perspective plays into how I communicate and like what I want to try to say. But it's also tainted, like what I say is also tainted by the viewer's perspective. So like a viewer that is a like really sensitive, like let's say that a viewer's a non-Jew and they're watching these videos and they see that I'm talking about Jews, and then it makes them like uncomfortable. And maybe that viewer, this is just a hypothetical, perhaps maybe that viewer doesn't even know any Jews and doesn't know anything about the history of Jews. And then they feel it necessary to like defend Jews. Well, this whole thing is like, I'm trying to help you guys understand that, people, if you threaten people, like if people feel threatened, any human being, it doesn't matter who it is, they're going to rely on the defense and the protection of whoever is going to provide it. You know what I mean? If they really feel threatened, right? I don't think that the Jews feel threatened by these videos. You know what I mean? And that's not my intent. My intent is not to like threaten Jews and not to paint Jews in a monolithic group. Now, Jews are more consolidated than other groups, being like an extreme minority. And they are incredibly present in the stuff that we're talking about. Like in the construction of world government, they are incredibly present. And the end state of Judaism is parallel and analogous to, world government. And so these are like, now there's an entire other angle in there, which would be the consideration of divinity, right? Like divine will. And that's like a separate thing, right? Like, and so when I'm talking about prophecy, for example, in these videos, you have to understand that I'm attempting to discuss it, like the prophecies out of the Tanakh, as like the way that I read them, which would not just from me reading it, right? Or I can reference writings that are published on, Jewish sages or whatever that I've read. But, I'm not in the Jewish community. I'm not a Jew. And so it's like, my perspective is limited. But, the stuff that I'm talking about is like stuff that I've read, you know what I mean? And looked into pretty thoroughly. So like, if you're concerned about what we're talking about. It's not, you need to understand that your understanding of what, whatever reason makes you want to deflect, or if you feel wincy about, you hear the word Jew and you're like, oh, I don't know. You need to understand that, like, this is a part of the problem, because what happens is, like, the, like, everybody, especially the United States, right? Like the West, we have been used as the hammer for world government for a while, and now that's kind of coming to the end. But the West has been trained like a puppy dog, and it's really limited our perception of reality. And one of the facets to that is that, we view things in a like a bracketed equation of how you, like, deal with problems, and the model is to kill everything. And the reason that it's to kill everything is because we've been used as the hammer, and that's been going on for multiple generations. And so that's the way that Americans look at the world. And so what happens is that, like, people look at this stuff, they're watching this video, like, if they're not Jewish, they're watching these videos, and they're going, wait, like, wow, he's really talking about the Jews a lot. Man, if the Jews are responsible for this, then, like, this is what they're thinking in their head, subconsciously, or something to do with the effect of, wow, he's really, like, naming the Jews a lot. If he's right, if this is the case, then that means we have to go kill all the Jews. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's like that's like an extension of the problem of training, of like, socialization, and using, like, groups of people, like a nation state, as a hammer. Like, that's the effect that it has. The reality is that every single human being is responsible directly for their actions, and the actual justice is not in this world, but we sure try to emulate it here. And I believe, my perspective on reality is that every human being, regardless of who they are, and regardless of whether they agree with each other, is exactly responsible for their actions. Okay? And if a person is in a nation state, and they happen to be a part of a group, and then they committed action that is, like, socially unacceptable or illegal or whatever, and then that's like a prerogative of the state or the society, and that's not my, like, I'm not in charge of either. And so I'm just here talking about what I see as reality, and it doesn't mean that it's every single fucking Jew. Okay? Now, that being said, you do have to understand that, like, like I was saying earlier, I was saying, like, if you threaten people, like, if people feel threatened, like, let's say that you didn't have, as an American, let's say that you didn't have the backup, like, of the warm and fuzzy feeling of, like, wow, I've got the whole United States behind me because I'm an American, and, like, we're really strong. Let's say that just went away, right? And that just no longer existed. And then you feel threatened from a group that you perceive as, like, more powerful, like, more physically powerful, like, they could throw you in jail, they could kill you, whatever, right? Well, you're going to revert to whatever, you're going to be sympathetic and revert to whatever group is going to, like, defend you. You know what I mean? And you're going to be really careful not to, even if that group isn't doing the right thing, or if you don't agree with them, right? Not everybody is going to do this. I'm just saying that it's like a generalization of human psychology, right? Well, the Jews are no different. And, like, there are not that many Jews in the United States compared to other groups. They're an extreme minority. And, they're obviously, like, this is, most of the stuff that's going on is, has Jews doing it. Okay? Now, on the public level, like regular people that are either racially Jews or religiously Jews, and those span a lot of, like, micro domains within Judaism, and they all have, relational circumstances between the two that, like, dictate a person's perspective. But, like if I was, for example, like, it's a common sentiment in the media. They use the term white. I don't really agree with the term white, but they use it in the media and everywhere else. They use it in OMB, demographic standard for the federal government, and or OBM, sorry. And like, they, like, if I was, let's say that I was in the government right now, and I was, like, fully into the government brainwashing program and shit, and then, like, I watched the news every day, and they were like, white people are oppressive and they're overrepresented in the government. Okay, well, if I was sitting in like, like on a foundation, on a board, or sitting on, like some kind of government board, or something in the legislature, or something in the executive branch, like an independent executive branch independent executive agency, and then if I looked around and every single person that was in there, or like 90% of them, were what the media considers white, then it's like if my perspective was I wouldn't even be in the government. So, that comes first. But if I was in this hypothetical, I would look around, see all the white people, and I'd be like, wow, this is what they're talking about. Like, I need to, either need to recuse. That's the word they love using in the media. I need to recuse myself and like not be a part of this, so I don't perpetuate it. Right, at the least. Or I would go out and say something, because I would think, I would imagine I would be like, man, like this could be, what if people got really mad at the white people, and then they started attacking white people, and like if I'm just in here like running shit, like in this board or whatever, and it's all white people, then I'm just as guilty as them, right? That's how I would look at it personally, right? Well, the Jews are no different than me, except that they're even smaller of a percentage, and they're highly sensitive to each other's identities. Like a Jew, it's important, right? Like a Jewish identity is important to Jews. And so they, Jews know who other Jews are. And, despite all this stuff that's going on, like there's wanton overrepresentation of Jews in the United States government and in the private sector at all of the power nodes. And it's to a level and a degree that is well beyond conspicuous. It is public information that you can just look at the tips of your fingers at any time, and it's wanton and it's extreme. And you have to understand that, like, I wanted to put this caveat in there because I don't, I have to try to be as objective as I can. And if I say it, if I disposition my words in one way, I'm gonna get a bunch of people that are aware of Jewish power in the United States and Europe, and they're gonna say, and when I say like it's not all the Jews, they're gonna be like, oh, Dugan's shilling for the Jews. If I, you know what I mean? If I didn't say the part about how it's not all Jews, then the Jews would be like, oh, Dugan's fucking anti-Semitic, which is a word that I don't even agree with at all, because it's a deceitful word, and it is extremely. The word anti-Semitic is probably the most anti-Semitic. It's like a self-fulfilling word. It's probably the most anti-Semitic thing that you could say is to use the word anti-Semitic, because it discounts all of the fucking other Semites that exist in the world that are, very, not in a good position nationally or socially. They don't have a lot of power. They're very, they're disenfranchised in a lot of ways. And when you use the word Semitic to describe only Judaism, you're robbing other people of the like identity and assigning it completely to Judaism, which is incorrect. You know what I mean? So like, I don't use the word anti-Semitic because it's a fake word that is designed for just that. And it's wrong to use. It's the wrong word to use. The correct word would be anti-Jewish. And I am not anti-Jewish. I am just pro-truth. That's it. So if you have a problem with what I'm saying, of any of the things that I'm saying, then I'm happy to listen to what you have to say, if you're not a fucking idiot. If you're an idiot, then I'm not going to waste my time, because there's a lot of you out there, and like, I'm already fucking pulling shoestrings here trying to make these fucking videos, and I don't have time to waste on your wild goose chases, like looking at the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is not fucking running the central bank of the United States. The Catholic Church is not like running thousands of NGOs that are engaged in immigration all over the world, and not engaged. The Catholic Church is not engaged in like coordinated gun control between the all the states in the Union. The Catholic Church is not like overrepresented times 10,000% in the executive independent agencies. You know what I mean? So like, this is like the Catholics and the historical Catholics are not present in the the modern retail finance system, nor in the like retail finance system of the past, 500 years to a significant degree. Like, yes, they are there. There are Catholics. There are Catholics in the fucking independent executive agencies, of course. There's everybody, there's lots of people in them, but they are not like, they're not like signed onto controlling nodes of all this shit that's going on. And so, like, this is, we got to stick to truth here. If it's not true, if I say something that's not true, call me out, and let's look at it. But if you can't do that, then it's like I'm not really interested in what you have to say. You know what I mean? Because I'm just following information. The fucking egg came before the chicken here in this case, okay? Not the other way around. So it's like I'm coming to my conclusions. I'm coming to my conclusions by following data, not the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, when I started researching all this shit, I was researching central banks. I was researching the military industrial complex. I was researching, contractors and shit, like Halliburton, Lockheed Martin. I was researching shit like that. I did not start like pointing my fucking eyeballs at Jews and then working backwards and saying, like, how do I get the Jews to be like represented here? That is not how it happened. I was completely brainwashed, just like everybody else. And I started in, a fucking clusterfuck web of totally unrelated things and could never find the common thread between them until like one day I just saw it, you know what I mean? And I was just like, wow, this is like a bunch of Jews, and it's the only common thread between all of these things. That's it. That's how I got there. So that's just the reality. It doesn't mean that you need to go kill all the Jews. You don't need to kill all the Jews, because people that think that are missing the entire other half of the coin, which is that none of these people are like coming out and fucking holding a gun to your head. All of these people that are doing this are doing it through your hand because you're agreeing to it. And so, like, the execution of this stuff is by people that are not using their brain, and the very same people that are like, going on wild goose chases to chase the Catholic Church. Like, they're the ones that go to work and do this shit every single day and have no fucking problem closing their fucking eyes to watching their country be destroyed. Okay? So it doesn't mean that you don't have to like do something unethical. What you need to do is something ethical. You need to do something for yourself and for your family and for the country. And you need to take control of what are your rights, which are, that's the only benefit of being American are your rights that you're supposed to have. And you've already given them all away, except on paper. So you got a little piece of paper that you can pull out and you can discuss it with whoever's violating it with you. And they'll do a little word dance around, why what they're doing isn't violating those things. But it is. And that's where we need to stop. And the reason that they're able to do it is because everybody's getting a paycheck all the way down the line, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop following orders, and stop getting their paycheck. That's why we're here, is because people looking at like, well, if I'm getting paid for it, it must be good. No, it's not fucking good. And that line of thinking is exactly what ended us here in the exact place that we're in the problems that we're having. And the logical conclusion that's not only logical in terms of like just deductive order, but also logical in terms of like, maybe we should look at things that have happened in the past and how they happen in chronology. Because if the same thing, if something happened like hundreds of times and then it's happening now, like maybe the result of whatever, the consequence of whatever those things were, will also replicate itself in the present, right? Well, that would be like everybody flipping out and attacking the Jews, okay? That's what that would be. Because all the shit that's going on in the United States has happened in a bunch of other fucking countries. And this is the reason that Jews have been kicked out of countries and like murdered for fucking ever. Because the exact same situation, but limited and curtailed to its place in history. That is the reason that this shit was happening in the past. And there's no logical reason to assume that that's not going to happen again. You know what I mean? The only thing that's holding it back is your Stockholm syndrome. But what you have to understand is that you need to get over the Stockholm syndrome, and then you need to realize, like, wow, do I want to be a good person, or do I want to be like, somebody that does immoral things, like hurts people. And Jews are people, and you shouldn't hurt people. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't do it. Now, if somebody comes and tries to hurt you, that's up to you. You got to make your own decision. But you shouldn't hurt people, and that's where we're going if we don't fucking address this shit right now. You know what I mean? Because it's going to end up, this entire fucking ball of wax is going to end up aiming in that direction. You know what I mean? And it's a kind of a I don't want to say it's like a subtle thing, but it's subtle in terms of like it's impossible to get people's perspectives over it. So like when I'm talking about Jews, I'm not saying that like you need to go attack Jews and like it's all their fault. I'm saying that it's fucking everybody's fault, including me and including you and fucking including all of our fucking grandpas and grandmas. This is like all our fault. Instead of pretending like we haven't done anything stupid, we need to like accept that we were doing something stupid that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then identify ways to like fix the situations that are going to end up causing a fucking disaster that is in a one-way direction that we can't come back from. Right now it's not happening, but it's, we're getting closer every single day. So, you can look at that however you will. If you're the type of person, if you're either a Jewish person or a non-Jewish person that thinks like, wow, you just can't say anything about Jews, because that's mean. And so like, it doesn't matter what the context is or how you're considering it. Like you say something negative about Jews, you're a bad person. Well, you're a part of the system, because this entire system is predatory on Jews just as much as it's predatory on us. Now, yeah, there are Jews like at the top that are running it, but they're not representative of even necessarily like the religion of Judaism. You know what I mean? Like there are Orthodox Jews that are sitting around right now waiting for the fulfillment of prophecy for redemption to come, and they don't believe that anything going on right now is organic to divinity. You know what I mean? Like they don't believe that any of this stuff, the construction of Israel and all this shit that's going on is a product of like divine intervention, other than to the extent that like God is everything, right? Like other than that, right? So I don't, and it's not like, and when I say that, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that the end goal of Judaism is world government or is not world government, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that like, there are people that are, heavily Jewish and are not happy with the way that things are, and that understand some of what I'm talking about, and maybe they wouldn't agree with exactly everything in my perspective, but I would imagine they probably have an idea of where I'm coming from. And I've tried to talk from my heart directly and tried to I know who I am and what I feel between myself and God, and like I know that I do not hate anyone like at all. I don't even hate my enemies. I don't hate Jews, I don't hate Muslims, I don't hate Christians, I don't hate atheists. I don't hate anybody, and I think all of you are a very purposeful creation, and beneath the veil of deceit that we are operating under, our true selves are there, and you're made for a very special purpose, and it can't be replaced, and so we can keep on going like lemmings off the cliff, or we can have some accountability for ourselves and start to move humanity in a more accountable and honest direction, with the intent of like having freedom for people so they can have time to think and to reflect on their life and the reason that they're here. Because right now you guys are all fucking slaves, and you don't even have fucking, like, most people, they're just like, most people are basically like sedating themselves so that they can tolerate their day-to-day life, because everything is so fucked up. And this is not the way that humanity is supposed to be. This is not why we're supposed to be here. Okay? If people need time, we need to shift the world into a place where people have time to know themselves and to learn what they, what's going to fulfill them, to learn about something that's real. And it's necessary for dramatic changes to take place in the societies and in economics for that to happen. Because this is like a fucking, I mean, we were like being held down with a chain and the fucking water is coming up. Okay? And it's going to happen one way or another, whether or not you want to do it by facing it with truth and honor and courage, or you can wait until this shit fucking spirals out of control and then we can just watch everybody get tortured and killed. You know what I mean? It's up to you. But you don't have much time. So, you know, I hope that you understand what I'm saying, and I hope it made the impact that I intended. Like I hope you don't listen to this and think that like I'm like mad at you or something like that. Like I'm not. I'm just trying to drive home the point that, you know, the only reason I have enough steam to get up here and do these fucking videos all the time is because I love you. You know what I mean? And I don't know you, you know, I don't know you, and I'm sure that every single human, you know, has done something that they're not proud of, and there's probably a lot of them that have done things that I wouldn't like, but you know, I know that underneath all that shit, I've got a pretty, you know, rough idea of what you thought you wanted the world to be, and I have an idea of how disappointed you are that where we are is not that at all. And I think if you follow truth, regardless of who you are, I think we're all going to end up in the same place. All roads of truth lead to the same place. Yeah. Well, we're gonna stay strong. We're gonna stay strong. You know, like I'm not wavering here. We're good. It's just that, you know, I just want to be clear, right? I want to be clear, and I don't want to give any ammunition to anyone, including like, you know, a Jew that would be Malthusian or a non-Jew. Okay. And I just want to be upfront about, you know, clarifying this shit, because we're talking about Jews a lot, you know. And some of it, you know, like some of the times when we're talking about historical stuff that Jews are involved in, you know, I say it like really off the cuff. So like if you're not aware, you know, if you weren't watching all these streams, you would hear that and you would think that's like, you know, you would take it as like, oh, he just doesn't like Jews. You know, it's not that I don't like Jews. It's that the people that did these things, the acts that I'm talking about historically, whenever I say it and then mention that they happen to be Jews. And then so it's like, you know, my like demeanor in the way that I talk about it is because the whole situation is so fucking ridiculous. You know, it's just like remorseless and fucking like, it's absurd. You know what I mean? It's like the most conspicuous, like repetitive behavior over and over again. And then a bunch of people pretending like it's not going on, you know, and that's the reason I'm saying that. It's not because I am like denigrating Jews. Okay. And the bottom line to take away from it is that, you know, every single person is responsible for exactly their acts, and that the justice for those acts really, you know, there really isn't justice in this world. Like the justice is somewhere else, but we're not very good at accepting that as people. And so, you know, we really take it into our own hands. And, you know, there's lots of philosophies and opinions about that, and I understand, but you know, one person's justice is another person's tragedy. So, and that's just the way that it is, you know, like every fucking serial killer had a mother, you know what I mean? Every bad seed came down from a good tree, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, the shit is more fucking complicated than just like, you know, I mean, obviously we have to, you know, if you have a nation state that exists, then it's like, and if it's operating, then you have to have like standards. Like I understand all this shit, and I understand that there's things that are bad. You know, I'm not saying that like nothing's bad. I'm just saying that this is all encompassed in the actual reality that we're in, and the motherfucking reality button is in the on position. Okay, and so, you know, we're kind of getting by on the best way that we know how, the best that we can. But we're also running up against a timeline that's pretty obvious that, like, you know, where we're at is not good enough. So hopefully we do get some help here, you know, sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, I think the best way to approach the future is by putting the ruler of truth against it, and not being afraid to reflect truth to other people, because people are wired automatically in their beings to recognize and seek truth, and that's what they're attracted to, and that's like the underlying uh, attraction to everything that people are attracted to, whether it be art or like music or film, or like if somebody's into horticulture, or it really doesn't matter. The thing that's in the bottom of that is that there's a reflection of some kind of truth that the person is identifying, and that's because we are all wired to be guided by what we see with our own sight is truth. And if we are able to follow that without having the control paradigm and illusion of the physical world construction that's like bearing down on us through like economics, like how many times have you wanted to do something that you thought was right, but because of the economic situation involved, like on the micro level, like whatever your personal situation is, your financial situation, or maybe a systematic bureaucratic situation, you have to let it go. You know what I mean? Instead of addressing it, this is a control paradigm, and its mechanical appendages are money. And this is like the entire big picture of what all I'm talking about. Like all this stuff is accomplished through money, and it has a purpose. Like money as a technology, like money really isn't even anything. You could exchange money, currency that you just decide is money, that could be fucking peanuts or whatever. You could do that, and the mechanics of what was going on would still be the same. And that's because the technological being that is money is also not from this place. Like the money is an abstraction, like the technology is an abstraction, and the reason why is because it's not from this place. So even though you look at a dollar bill and your brain sees it and it's like, this is money, well, it's not. It's just a fucking piece of paper and like textile that has a bunch of ink and then some probably some like metal shadings in it and shit, and probably like a lot of fecal exposure and stuff from passing around so many hands, germs and stuff. That's all that it is, right? The money itself as a technology is a fucking abstraction that's in your fucking head, and the reason that everybody can see it and agree on it is, at least vaguely, is because it's an abstraction that doesn't exist in the physical world, but it's something that we can all access and pull down and understand it. But it's not from this motherfucking place, okay? So it has a purpose. That purpose is coming to an end, though. And this is like, I don't know how long that's going to be. It could be a long time. It could be, a couple hundred years. I don't know. But it's unsuitable. And people haven't really figured that out yet, because we're not even at the place where, people still think that this China conflict that's going on, that's getting brewed up, is like real. You know what I mean? People still think that like the Iraq war is real. People think that fucking World War I and World War II is real. This is all just fucking horse hockey. You know what I mean? And we can be like the agents of suffering, where we're just like fucking bouncing off one wall to another in reaction to a lot that we love, and closing ourselves off to seeking truth and accepting truth, and allowing other people that we may mistake for our enemies my box. They don't have to just blame all motherfucking people, and they had to get fucking taken out when they left. And it's pretty if your opinion is that you're the fucking if you're the fucking signs that come out and you think of it like that, then like you might be in for a little surprise here, possibly in our lifetime. But the point is if you're new here, if you just got in this channel, like try to understand the shit and understand that, like, when we're talking about historical stuff, we have to focus on the Jews. It's just the reality, right? Like if I talk to the angle, if I talk about the fucking guy that just wanted to win an election that was involved in whatever the thing was, and he's a Catholic, and I just focus on that, it's going to give you a completely disproportional picture of what the fuck is going on, right? Like now you're going to be like You're gonna be like, because you're a dumbass, you're gonna be like assaulting, like building up an assault to go assault Rome, and you're gonna take out the Pope or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter if we're talking about the Pope or if we're talking about the Jews. Like, you need to understand that like all the shit that's happened to you that you feel injustice for or iniquity is not, it's not the fucking, it's through our hands. It's through acceptance by us and our own perpetuation, all of us. And once we come to the understanding of this, then we can start to like, get shit in order in a manner that prevents people from being able to take advantage of each other and cause this shit. And money's really at the heart of that, So that was my little psycho rant to try to somehow address that comment that was in there about the Catholic Church. It's a tough way to. It's difficult to invoke the proper way to address the that entire ball of worms without feeding into somebody's preconceived notion of like what's going on, right? So that I felt like it was kind of necessary. So we'll do some streams. I'm gonna do a stream tonight. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be Picon. I don't know if it's gonna be, me just getting drunk and seeing how many words I can say. I don't know, but I'm gonna do one tonight. I'm also gonna work on the Spank Your Booty song some more today before that, and get like all my flexes out and like twist around and shimmy around in my chair while I'm dancing to listen to the song. And we'll do a stream tonight, and I'll catch up with you guys. All right. Have fun. Until then, I love you.